As a science communicator, I find myself intrigued by the phenomenon of flat earthers. Despite being presented with overwhelming evidence to the contrary, this group of individuals persists in their rejection of the spherical shape of our planet. However, I do not believe that flat earthers are necessarily unintelligent or anti-scientific, at least not all of them. In fact, in this piece, I aim to explore why we should not feel ashamed if we struggle to recall the evidence for Earth's roundness, and how flat earthers arrive at their beliefs. The most prevalent model proposed by flat earthers is that of a disk with the North Pole at the center and the South Pole represented by an ice wall at the disk's edge. However, not all members of the community subscribe to this notion. An alternative model is the bipolar configuration, where both poles sit on the disk surrounded by water held in place by some sort of rim, such as ice or rocks. A minority of flat earthers even contend that the Earth is an infinite plane. Despite their varied models, flat earthers tend to agree on one point: the absence of gravity. Instead, they attribute the observations typically explained by gravity to the upward acceleration of the flat Earth. As a result, the apparent gravitational acceleration is expected to be uniform across the Earth's surface. However, this assumption conflicts with evidence that demonstrates that gravitational acceleration varies across different locations on Earth. Furthermore, the notion that gravity results from upward acceleration raises additional issues. For instance, it requires the assumption that the Moon and the Sun accelerate with the flat Earth to prevent collisions. This ad hoc assumption discredits the flat Earth hypothesis in favor of models where the orbits of celestial bodies can be calculated using the gravitational law. Additionally, the hypothesis must account for the Moon and the Sun's orbits around the disk, which causes day and night and the phases of the Moon. To make the day-night cycle visible, one must reduce the Sun's size and move it closer to Earth while also ensuring that the Sun's radiation is directional, necessitating additional ad hoc assumptions. Even with these assumptions, the size of the Sun will vary throughout the day more than observations indicate. Furthermore, no flat Earth theory has successfully predicted solar eclipses or explained the observed motions of planets. Therefore, it is challenging to surpass the current scientific standard. The hypothesis of a flat Earth was abandoned over 2,000 years ago for valid reasons. Some individuals have suggested to me that flat earthers do not genuinely believe in the flat Earth model, but instead are ridiculing those who blindly accept scientific evidence. While it is true that we all engage in such behavior to some extent, it is unlikely that all flat earthers are simply pretending. It would require exceptional acting skills, as demonstrated in some of the videos available on YouTube. Furthermore, they invest significant amounts of time and, in some cases, money into promoting their beliefs, despite being aware that publicly endorsing a flat Earth theory could result in others questioning their mental stability. Thus, it is improbable that they are solely motivated by amusement. Although it is arguable that a portion of flat earthers can be classified as conspiracy theorists, it would be unfair to categorize most of them as such. To comprehend this, we must examine the history of the Flat Earth Society, which traces its roots to Samuel Rowbotham, an Englishman from the 19th century. As a medical practitioner, Samuel Rowbotham posited that he had provided evidence of the flatness of the Earth, yet felt ignored by the scientific establishment for the remainder of his life. Rowbotham coined the term zeticism from the Greek word zetio, meaning to seek, to describe his methodology, an extreme variation of empiricism. The philosophy, which remains central to flat earthers' beliefs today, asserts that one should only rely on information obtained through personal sensory experiences to understand nature. According to the Flat Earth Society's website, the world looks flat, the bottoms of clouds are flat, the movement of the sun, these are all examples of your senses telling you that we do not live on a spherical heliocentric world. The fact that flat earthers demand evidence derived exclusively from personal experience is critical to comprehending their predicament. Following Rowbotham's passing in 1884, another British man, Samuel Shenton, took up the flat Earth idea, emphasizing the importance of individually gathered evidence in his philosophy. Shenton founded the International Flat Earth Society in 1954. Despite the efforts of Samuel Rowbotham and his followers, the Flat Earth Society did not gain much traction in the 19th and 20th centuries. After the death of Charles Johnson, the society had only a few thousand members. However, in 2016, a few passionate flat earthers posted videos on YouTube which quickly gained popularity and began recruiting new members. This surge in interest had significant consequences, with a 2018 poll in the United States revealing that 2% of respondents believed the Earth is flat and 7% were unsure. While reliable figures are difficult to obtain, it is likely that there are now more than 10,000 people in the developed world who reject scientific evidence that was settled centuries ago. It is important to consider the implications of this phenomenon and to continue efforts to promote scientific literacy and critical thinking. In fact, the Flat Earth movement has now gained momentum and has even reached international attention. Flat Earthers hold conventions, organize their own social media platforms, and actively engage in discussions with scientists and skeptics. This movement challenges not only scientific evidence but also the very foundations of knowledge and truth. It highlights the importance of science communication and the need for critical thinking in a world where misinformation can spread rapidly through social media. As scientists, it is our responsibility to engage with the public and promote scientific literacy, while also understanding the motivations and beliefs of those who reject scientific evidence. To some extent, the popularity of flat Earth theories is symptomatic of a broader trend towards skepticism of scientific authority, often fueled by misinformation and conspiracy theories that circulate on social media. This phenomenon raises questions about how we can effectively communicate scientific knowledge to the public and the importance of scientific literacy in a democratic society. While it may be tempting to dismiss flat earthers as a fringe group, the fact that their numbers are growing suggests a need for greater scientific outreach and education. As scientists, it is our responsibility to engage with the public and communicate our findings in ways that are accessible and compelling. By fostering a culture of scientific inquiry and promoting critical thinking skills, we can help combat the spread of misinformation and conspiracy theories, and ensure that scientific knowledge continues to play a central role in shaping our understanding of the world. How can one possibly reject the well-established scientific fact that the Earth is round? There is no one definitive answer to this question, as various factors could contribute to this denial of empirical evidence. Some flat earthers, for instance, may find the idea of a flat Earth more compatible with their religious beliefs, while others may subscribe to the view that space exploration is a hoax perpetrated by organizations such as NASA. However, the most common reason why flat earthers hold such beliefs is their claim that they are rational skeptics. According to this perspective, flat earthers assert that they are simply requesting evidence to support the claim that the Earth is round. In their view, the absence of direct, observable proof of the Earth's curvature justifies their skepticism. It is worth noting, however, that scientific proof in the empirical realm is rarely absolute, and requires substantial evidence to disfavor competing hypotheses. In the case of the shape of the Earth, there is a plethora of evidence supporting the fact that the Earth is not flat, including historical records of stellar constellations, the varying length of shadows, and scientific laws such as Newton's 1/r²2 force law. Other evidence includes Einstein's theories on gravitational redshift and the perihelion precession of Mercury. Despite this overwhelming evidence, flat earthers are unable to make these observations themselves, thereby creating a fundamental limitation to their ability to disprove the hypothesis that the Earth is round. A scientific theory, or if you observe something directly yourself, all of these are based on your sensory input. Therefore, rejecting scientific evidence that was not personally collected is arbitrary and illogical. It also ignores the fact that scientific progress is built on a cumulative body of knowledge, where scientists rely on each other's experiments and observations to make progress. Furthermore, flat earthers' approach to evidence is selective and biased. They only accept evidence that confirms their preconceived beliefs and reject evidence that contradicts them, which is not a rational approach to inquiry. In conclusion, while the desire for evidence and skepticism are important for scientific progress, flat earthers' approach to evidence is logically flawed and inconsistent with scientific methodology. In the world of science, rejecting something as well established as the fact that the Earth is round may seem unreasonable. However, the reasons why some people become flat earthers vary. Some believe it for religious reasons, while others think NASA is evil, space is fake, and the moon landing never happened. However, most flat earthers believe they are being rational skeptics. They argue that they have not personally proven that the Earth is round, so they reject scientific fact until they have sufficient evidence to support it. But flat earthers' philosophy of accepting only personally collected evidence is inconsistent with the scientific approach. Every piece of evidence we have is sensory input, and flat earthers refuse to accept certain types of evidence that contradict their beliefs. They ignore a lot of evidence that their own senses deliver, leading to their refusal to accept the scientific fact. Flat earthers' refusal to decode sensory input is comparable to optical illusions, where our brains can